Welcome. You are listening to Readers and Writers with your hosts, James Hill and Athena Paris. I am Amy Ravichandran, and today we're talking about publisher and author support. So who wants to kick this off? Who wants to dive in first?
I'll dive in because
I was going to say, not everyone yell at the same time. Not everyone yell.
I know Athena doesn't like to be the first one. I kind of like, stir up the waters a little bit before she goes in there. And so what we're talking about is some of the new technologies that have been coming along this year. Not that the technologies are new, but more people are using it now. Like Zoom, for example. We're doing a lot of Zoom meetings, and it's really great because before we started doing this, none of our authors knew each other. Nobody, they all knew me, they all knew Athena, but they didn't know each other. And because you do things where you have people who write in the same genre. Obviously, at the publishing house, we're going to publish certain genres. So therefore, we have authors who write in those genres. And through Zoom and through our meetings, they got to know each other. And they got to build a more personal relationship with each other. And they get the soundboard off each other, which is really great because they just don't need to hear my opinion or Athena's opinion. They get a wider opinion of their work, and they're actually able to see what other people are doing. That you really, as writers, we really don't have that much input. When you're sitting there writing, it's pretty much a lonely solo act. And until you get it all written and put it out there, you don't have any feedback either. And so you can go for beta readers and look for beta readers and things like that, which is helpful, which is good. And I would recommend people doing that. But you want to find beta readers who are in your genre. And this way, by working with people that we publish, they know, okay, well, I know my publisher likes him. So maybe I should listen to what he has to say too, or she has to say too. And so we started working that way. Athena,
yeah,
I warmed up the water for you. Go ahead.
yes, you warmed it up and you said basically everything. Anyway, yeah, no, that is the thing. It is always better to create a friendly, welcoming atmosphere because it's very hard publishing anyway. And you can do it yourself. You could go on Amazon, you could do it yourself, work it all out yourself, find your own cover designer or do it yourself. If, you feel that it looks good enough, you could find an editor or not, because a lot of people are publishing books without editing them and all of those things. But to have support and actual feedback from other people is better because it either shows you that you're on the right track or that you are really on a track all of your own. And nothing, there's nothing that can be just done alone. And writing is one of those things. Because if you are just completely writing only for yourself and that you don't take certain things into consideration, you might end up with a book that never sells anyway. Why? Because maybe your cover is not good enough, maybe the editing is not good enough, maybe the way you've put your entire product is not good enough, whereas to get feedback from other people, they can say, oh yeah, no, it shouldn't be blue, it should be purple, or yeah, no, this is not working, that is not working. Oh, I have a problem with your story in this place or that place. That is creative feedback, for you. It's not just criticism, it's feedback that you need to get because you need to know that you are on the right track.
That's what a lot of people got to realize. It's not criticism, it's feedback. Like you say, feedback and criticism are two different things. Criticism is, I don't like it. And no reason why, no help, nothing to tell you. Feedback is, I didn't like this part of your story, or you didn't answer this question. You left me wondering about this. And sometimes if it's a critical part of your story that you didn't actually answer, it could be very devastating to the reader who would finish the book and say, but you know what? He never really told me what the story was about.
Right.
And without somebody pointing that out to you, because as a writer, you know what you're thinking about and you know what you think you're writing. But a lot of time what you think you wrote and what you think you put down on paper didn't actually come out. And here comes the fire department, and hopefully they're not going to my house. I don't smell smoke,
Hopefully.
okay.
Hopefully not.
I-
No, I think the best way to do this, right? I mean, I feel like, I guess in the realm that I work in, is a lot of people consider family and friends to be beta readers and they're biased, right? Um, so I mean, I would say, so what is your take on like critique groups? Because they kind of do everything that you guys are saying. They give you positive feedback. You know, it's not, I'm not going to say negative feedback. They're not going to like everything that you do, but they're giving you feedback to make you better and stronger and make your book the best that it can be, right? So, I mean, would you consider like a critique group kind of your beta readers and say read a chapter at a time? Or, you know, what is your take on that? Because you can meet with them on Zoom and all kinds of stuff in that aspect. So what is your opinion on those?
Yeah,
Beta readers, no, go ahead, Athena.
yeah, critique groups can work, and you can within a publishing house, because we independent. That's what I mean. Because we independent, we can create a critique group out of our own writers. But because we also write in different genres, someone who is writing women's fiction might not get fantasy altogether, you know?
That's
So
what I was
that
gonna
is
say.
sometimes a problem if the genres are too different, and then they actually comment in a way that shows their inability to understand how the genre works. So it is better to be in a critique group where they deal with the same type of writing, and because you understand that in fantasy world building, there are alien looking creatures, there's magic systems, elemental potions, poisons, you know, all these kind of things, and that might not be subjects that somebody who writes women's fiction is savvy about. So they might say, yeah, but I don't get this. Why do they have to do it like this? Because it's a magic system. This is how it works. So they might be too critical of what you're writing simply for the reason, which is that they don't understand it, which is how many people get 1 or 2 stars. It's because the wrong person read the wrong genre and they say, I didn't like it. Why didn't you like it? There is an actual reason, and the reason is it's not my genre. I don't get this fantasy thing.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and that's what I was gonna say with critique groups is you have to get in the right critique group. You have to get in somebody who understands the genre you're writing. And sometimes you can get people from outside your genre to read your stuff to see if it's at least coherent enough that they can understand it. Because you don't want to say, well, they just didn't understand it because it was fantasy. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just bad writing. So even somebody who was read fantasy would say you were all over the place. You weren't coherent. The story wasn't coherent. And you can get that from almost anybody who reads a story. But
exactly.
the idea is to get a really valuable or really good critique. It should be somebody who's inside of your genre, who understands the elements of the genre that you put it in there, so you don't wind up missing some things. And that's why we have our authors who write in those same genres say, hey, okay, read this guy. So, and they'll do it even over the phone or even over Zoom when they talk about, hey, I got this part, I'm at this part of my story, and what do you guys think about it? and then they'll tell the part and whatever, because they might be stuck on how to go on, how to move on from this part. And that's when you get that critique group from within your family. So you have a family of writers, and like, I don't really show my work to my family until after it's done, because of course they're going to say, oh yeah, that's great, James. You know, you did a great job. But, you know, I expect them to think it's great. You know, I don't think my mom is ever going to tell me that she hates what I write. And now I had a couple of people in my family who told me they couldn't continue reading some of the Killer series because they couldn't separate me from the story. And the story is rather graphic. And they were like, well, you know, I just couldn't read that about you. And I'm saying, it's not about me, it's about the characters. Don't think about me. And they're like, well, we can't. So, you know,
Yeah.
when it's your daughter and daughter-in-law and stuff like that, they kind of like can't look past the person. So
Right.
that's the problem that you have when your family is reading it. They're
Yeah.
looking at you as the person, not as the writer. And so when you talk to other writers, they're looking at you as the writer and your work as a written work, not
Yeah.
as a person that I like, not as John, who I like, and is a friend of mine, and we go drinking together. This is John, the writer, and this is what he wrote. And how true is it to the genre? How true is it? How good is it as a piece of
Yeah.
work?
Yes, exactly.
Nice. So you mentioned Zoom, right? I know with the, pandemic and everything going on, Zoom became a big outlet. And I know Rock Hill has authors all over the world. So Zoom is your guys' best friend and stuff. But do you feel like using Zoom that it hinders, hinders your beta readers, I guess, in the connection that you could have? I know a lot of authors like in-person events. I'm a virtual person myself. It's people out there, but do you feel like that hinders a beta reader or like deters them, or what is your insight on there? I know we only have like a couple minutes and I asked you a really long question, so you don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
Well, I'll be quick. I think Zoom really helped because you can actually see the people you're talking with. And facial expressions are very important when you are talking about somebody's work. They got to see the person who's commenting, because you learn a lot from not just the comment, then also the facial expression. Like if you wrote a comment or a critique of somebody's work, they may take it the wrong way because they don't know what you're actually, how it's coming across. So Zoom really helps in that fact. And Athena is sitting down in South Africa right now and doing this where I'm in Virginia and you're in Texas. So right there, that tells you how great Zoom is as far as communication devices.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. Athena, do you have anything to follow up?
No, that is the correct thing, because it is important to actually feel comfortable in each other's company. Because like, for example, Miami is coming up, but everybody's already seen each other. So it's not like a brand new where you feel completely alien to the other people, because it's the first time, you're not so sure. We've seen each other, we've laughed, we've had tragedies within the, Rock Hill family, things like that. And we support each other. So we want everybody to succeed, and they can see that from us when we tell them and when we explain about their work and how we want them to strive for better, every time. And it's support. It's exactly within a family. It's like each one of you is an individual and you all go out and do something, but whatever you do, do your best.
Right. Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Man, I feel like we need to end on that comment. Do your best, right? I mean, absolutely. So we hope you guys have a fantastic evening. Join us next week, but you've been listening to Readers and Writers.